In this Webflow tutorial, I'll teach you how to separate CMS items with a certain symbol, let's say for example a dash or a comma, and I'll teach you how to hide the last symbol from showing in the CMS item. Let's go ahead and take a look at another example right here. This is the one that we'll be building. You can see all this is actually a CMS item, and you'll notice there's a comma that separates each of the CMS item except the last one, because it just doesn't make sense to end a sentence with a comma, because a comma implies that there's something after it. Basic English, I think. But yeah, that's what we're going to be building. Let's quickly jump into Webflow. Okay, now that I'm in Webflow, I'm going to go ahead and just show you the CMS that I've just created. I've created two CMS. One is called types, and we have vegetable and fruit. And the other one is another CMS which contains all the vegetables and fruits that are AI generated. And for example, right here where we see fresh apple, this is currently linked to the other CMS types, and it's currently tagged as a vegetable because AI is not that great. I'm just pointing out there. It's pretty funny, but yeah. So yeah, this fresh apple is a vegetable. If I go to sweet peach, that's also a vegetable. If I go to spicy chili, that's also a vegetable. But you'll notice savory onion is fruit. So there's a bunch of different items that are tagged between vegetable and fruit in the CMS collection. Now in the actual designer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a collection list. And I'm going to go ahead and just change this to, let's say, for example, fruit/vegetable. So I'm pulling everything. And in this specific case, I just want to show the fruits. So I'm going to go ahead and hit settings. And on the right-hand side, I can hit filters. I can go ahead and hit type, and I can just change it only to fruits. So it's only showing fruits. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my text. And I'm going to go ahead and just click this button right here where I can pull the name of the CMS item. So these are all the items that are tagged under fruit. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this collection item right here by default has a class. So I'm just going to call it CMS fruit. Just call it that. Then the next thing is I'm going to go ahead and select this one above it, collection list. I'm just going to give it a class because it's just good to give stuff a class. So I'm going to call it CMS list. Now what I'm going to do is I want to put everything to be next to each other, almost like a sentence. So I'm going to apply flex right here, and you'll notice everything is looking very, very good. Maybe I'm going to go ahead and hit wrap down right here. So where it says wrap down, that way on smaller breakpoints, it's not going to overflow. So I'll just give you an example. If I just get rid of this direction right here, and I'll go back into, let's say, this collection list wrapper, go ahead and give this a class of max width. And I'll go ahead and just change this max width, let's just say to 42 rems. So now you can see if I didn't do that wrap, it's not going to look good. So like all the text is like forcing into different lines. So if I go back to that CMS list and I'll apply flex, and this time I'll put wrap down, you'll notice that it's keeping all the styling, pretty good. The next thing I can do is I can also add a gap. So maybe I'll put a 5 pixel gap between everything, maybe a 12 just for exaggeration. But that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and just put some top margin. Now what I want to do is I want to separate everything with a comma. So in order to do this, in this CMS-fruit item, I'm going to go ahead and just add a text block. And I'm going to go ahead and just put a comma. And I'm going to give this a class. Let's just say CMS comma. And you'll notice that everything's just stacking on top of each other because that's how websites work. So you guessed it. We're going to go ahead and select this class, the parent, and we're going to go ahead and hit flex. That way it just sits next to each other. And in this case, we don't need to put a gap because it makes it looks good. But I'm just saying, if instead of this comma, if this was like a line like this, you probably want to put a gap. And in that case, you just put a gap of whatever you want, like 6 pixels. That works, what you're seeing right now. Otherwise, with the comma, I'm just going to leave it how it is. Now I'm just going to go ahead and apply my custom code. Super easy. Just going to add an embed code right here. And I'm going to go ahead and paste in this code, which I've also left in the description. And all this code is doing is it's targeting 2 classes. One is the CMS item, and the next one is saying that it's only going to affect the child of that CMS item or that collection. And then the third one is what specific style or class do you want it to have display none. So before I look into the code, let's go ahead and just analyze everything. So right now we have a comma with class of CMS comma. and you notice at the very end, after savory onion, there's still a comma, which just doesn't make sense in this case. We want to get rid of this one. So let's go ahead and open this code, and we're going to go ahead and just replace CMS item with what we actually called it, which is CMS fruit in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and just replace that. Then it's going to target only the last CMS item of that specific class. Then we want to go ahead and change CMS-style just to what we called it, which is CMS comma. So I'm going to go ahead and just rename this to CMS comma. And it's going to go ahead and put this class to display none if it's the last of that specific CMS list. So now I've hit save and close. You'll notice that the comma is disappeared from the savory onion. And that is that. Bob is your uncle. So I hope you found this video super helpful. I guess you'll use this in very specific situations. Please check out my other tutorial. If you like this video, I recommend you also watch my tutorial on text eclipses. Besides that, I'll see you in the next video. Peace be with you.